to another edition, our newest edition of Spitball and Sports. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Good, John. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. Nice day today, right? Pretty,
Oh, beautiful.
pretty pleasant.
Yeah, finally. 2
Robin
weeks
here.
without rain.
Yeah. All right. Robin, how are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Hey, Robin.
All right. It's Friday and a lot of stuff happened. So I'm going to get right into it because we do have a lot to talk about. And
Okay.
this, everyone knows that watches the show, and you certainly know, Scott. I'm a huge Maple Leaf fan. You remember from high school, back in the 80s. I've been a Maple Leaf fan forever.
Make that a week.
Yeah, you too. But I'm saying he wouldn't know. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't know you in high school. Yeah, this is what happens. It really does. You got to always. All right, anyways, Maple Leafs, we all know their futility, right? 7 straight years making the playoffs. The most games they've ever won in a playoff year is 5. You need to win 16 to win the Stanley Cup. They've finally got to the first round, get knocked out in 5 by Florida. Maple Leafs have some big things happening coming up on July 1st. July 1st, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, no trade clauses come in effect. William Nylander also has some like a 10-team no trade clause. So you got all that. And you got Nylander needing a contract. You got Matthews needing one because they're coming into their last year. The general manager, Kyle Dubas, I guess, I'm going to give you right from the beginning. This is unbelievable. I wish the press conferences I've watched, I've never seen anything like this.
Oh my God.
So on Monday, the Leafs do their locker cleanout. Like every team does, it gets eliminated. They got eliminated on Friday. Now we're going to have press, talk to the players, talk to everyone. So general manager doesn't have a contract either. And he was told that he was not getting one until this season ended. He was told that, he said, fine, whatever. His contract ended June 30th. So he's at the podium and he's talking, and out of nowhere, he says that this season has been very difficult for him and pressure, and it was tough on his family and all this stuff. So he keeps on kind of saying that. He then goes on to say, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might take time away, but I'll tell you this, if I'm not the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, I won't be popping up anywhere else. So it ends. Everyone is stunned because they knew the Maple Leafs had a contract for him waiting to sign to be, to continue on an extension. So all week we go through this whole thing where who's going to be the general manager? He's got all kinds of stuff to do because you're going to have to trade one of Marner or Nylander or Matthews. Someone's got to go, and there's got to be, coaching changes and all that. So all week, nothing. And of course, today at 3:00 on a Friday, long weekend in Canada, they drop the news. So Brendan Shanahan, who's the president of the Leafs, comes in and says that he's been, Kyle Dubas is fired. He will not be the Leafs general manager. So when he goes through the whole timeline. Starting on Monday, he says when he saw his press conference, which he told the general manager, don't do it. Why don't you wait and we'll do one together? He said, no, I want to do it. I should tell whatever. So on Monday, Shanahan sees what he says and is stunned. No one ever heard him complain about pressure or family issues. So, fine. Seems like they're going to try to work it out, whatever. I guess Tuesday comes, according to Shanahan, they talk very briefly. Wednesday, they talk for almost 2 hours. So now, though, Thursday comes, and he doesn't hear from him. But
is he supposed to hear from him?
He thought he was going to, but instead, through this whole thing, Kyle Dubas, the general manager, had told Shanahan, I don't really want to talk about my contract. Do it with my agent.
Okay.
You guys deal with it. So on Thursday now, Shanahan's getting a little concerned because there's work that needs to be done with the team and everything else. On Thursday, he gets a message or from the agent giving, let me go backwards. Tuesday and Wednesday, an offer was given to Dubas, who said, I like it. Okay, great. I like it. Okay. Moving forward on Thursday now, we get to there. He doesn't hear from his general manager, but his agent now gives him a counteroffer. Now he wants more money and something different. On Friday, he says then on Thursday evening it was, right, when he gets the email? or was it Friday morning? No, it's Thursday evening.
Thursday.
Thursday evening, he gets an email from Kyle Dubas, the general manager, saying, I want to be the general manager of the Maple Leafs. I accept the job. Well, he says he slept on it. And of course, there was a counter offer and all that. And when he got up on Friday, Shanahan said, I drove down to the facility, went to his office, and fired him.
Sorry, I got to move my camera.
That's okay.
Wow.
So he fires him.
That's
But the whole dynamic of it was really wild because Kyle Dubas, the general manager, he used his family a lot in that press conference on Monday. If you listen to it, you go away feeling bad. It sounds like, okay,
he makes it sound as if like something's wrong. Like you think like
marital.
Is one of his kids sick? Is he going through marital troubles?
Is he making it sound like the team wasn't respecting what he was going through? Is that the vibe he was putting out? Like, I'm trying to get where I'm trying to get myself some good light here too, but I'm having trouble with that.
What he was putting forward was just sympathy. It was basically, I love the Maple Leafs. All this. I want to be here. I just need some time with my family to figure out if I want the job or not. Now, when he said that on Monday, he had never, it seems, told anyone in the Leafs organization about it. So they were very stunned watching the press conference. I mean, they learned about it as soon as I learned about it. So I think that kind of pissed them off. Like, why wouldn't you tell us that you're having problems?
It almost sounds like this guy's got issues. Like, would you even want him as your GM at this point? I mean, maybe that's why he decided not to accept him, because it sounds like he's going through some things. Right?
Yes. It's funny because when Shanahan spoke today, you could see they were all upset. He was a good general man. I'll give him this. He was with the team for 9 years, general manager for 5 of them, right? Or 6 of them. He had done some really good things. He's really good with the cap. He's like a capologist. He was really good with all that stuff with the money. And the players liked him and all that, agents. But he ends up.
He's not a kook.
Now, during the playoffs, we've never seen this before out of him. I told you, he tried to fight the fans in Tampa.
Yeah.
And then he started throwing water bottles around. I think I showed you that too.
Maybe he does have some issues, man. I mean, seriously, I'm not poking fun. I'm being serious. Maybe the pressure that he put on himself for not having a contract and feeling like he's got to hope that the team performs better, else maybe it wasn't them putting the pressure on him. Maybe just putting it on himself, and he visualized it as them putting pressure on him. Do you know what I mean? Because if he's got issues, you could easily do that. You could see someone doing that.
Yeah, it's. People, I mean, I'm watching all the Toronto media, and some of them are trying to say that it was a ploy for more money, but obviously it didn't work out well. You know, you knew what was going to happen when you send. In my mind, if you send the ball, now all of a sudden you counter offer what the offer was that you already said you'd accept. That's not going to. You know what's going to happen next.
Well, you had your opportunity earlier in the week to tell him what you wanted,
right? And he didn't.
I don't understand. And then he offers you, and you say you're good with it.
It's almost like
you renege on it, and you're going to be a dick and ask for more money. Well, then, yeah, I'd do the same thing and be like, guess what, dude? Sorry about it. I know someone's going to want this job.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like he was trying to make him do it.
Right.
I wish I had. I don't have the time because we wouldn't waste time. If you could have seen his on Monday, there is no way in hell. And I thought for sure he might tell us he's firing the head coach. He might be letting the head coach go. Not in a million years.
You're expecting them cleaning total house, right?
They did. They ended up doing that. They fired. I'm sure the head coach is gone, even though they didn't say it. There's now that a new GM's coming. But they fired even their minor league coaches. They fired everyone today. And so I mean, like now though, the next thing at hand is before July 1st, you got to figure out what you're going to do with Marner, Matthews, and Nylander. One of those has to go. They can't stay together no more.
In your opinion, who should go?
It would probably be Marner, I guess, for me. But, you know, it's only because he'd be the easiest to move. And I think you get the most for him. I also think he was born and raised in Toronto. And I think he's got some he had
a tough guy to get rid of with the fans and everybody. And
you know what the problem is? In 55 playoff games, he has 10 goals. So that's terrible. You know, it's horrible. He's horrible in the regular season, though. 100-point guy. He's unbelievable. He's actually up for he's up for an award this year for best defensive player, along with he's awfully good. It's just come playoff time, it's been 7 years, so there's a good sample size. It isn't like it just had. This is a good 7 years worth.
Holds under pressure is pretty much what it is.
Something, and everyone thinks that maybe he can get out to somewhere else. He'll do much better because he'll be good. These guys are going to be good. There's no.
A lot of people need a different change of scenery. Look at Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
Look at Jack Eichel. You know how aggravating that is to watch.
Well, that's like Ryan O'Reilly when he left Buffalo. He won the Conn Smythe.
You know how agitating that is? It's like, dude, you want to win a cup? Go play for Buffalo for 3 years and leave. As soon as you leave, you're going to go somewhere where you'll win one.
Yeah, not
right.
Right. No, I know.
Come pretty goddamn close. You're going to at least seriously compete for one.
These three players, they are, in my opinion, they're as good as you get in the NHL. Next, McDavid's just there's McDavid and everyone else, and I think these guys are in the upper echelon of the league. But I think they just don't mix together. There's something, and I know they're all friendly. They all are good friends.
You're talking about Matthews and all those guys. They just don't mix well.
There's something wrong because in 7 years they can't win a play. They can't win. So there's something.
No one's talked. That's a long time to not chirp.
Yeah.
You know?
No one. No, they all love each other. They are good friends, best friends, all that. They're tight knit group. All this. They all say the same
that's
thing.
The problem.
That might be the problem. You're right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Robert.
And then Scott, you were asking about how, what we thought of the general manager, or what was thought of the general manager. And I lost my train of thought.
That's what happened. Anyway, what I think of the general manager is this. I think he's been kind of. Go ahead. He's young. He's only 37 years old, by the way.
I heard an analyst say on TV today that he was a good general manager, but not a great one. And I agree with that. And what I was going to say to you, Scott, was I wouldn't have thought that I wanted him fired, except for the fact that he was so married to the coach, Sheldon Keefe, that he would never fire him. And I felt like part of the change that needed to happen was that the coach needed to go.
We never got to that point, though. We never even got to find out if he'd fire him because he fired himself.
Right. Well, that's why I was happy when Shanahan fired Dubas, because I knew that meant that Sheldon Keefe would get fired too.
Did Dubas sink himself because he knew that Keefe was going to be let go?
It's possible. Who knows? Because this feels like he did this.
They were that tight, huh?
Because they came from Sault Ste. Marie together. He was the general manager there. Keefe was the coach. They won a Calder Trophy together and the Marlies, and then they came right up to the NHL together.
Who knows? So maybe they're like, we're a pair, or we're not at all.
And that hasn't come out yet, but that would have been interesting if he would have accepted the job. Right. If it would have all worked out, because they had to fire him. You couldn't bring him back.
Right.
Just because, and not even that he's a bad coach, just because all this, all this losing, how can you just keep bringing it back?
You need a different voice in the room at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. But one of the most craziest, I don't know, I've never seen a breakup like this in sports. Like, to have such miscommunication on purpose, and then to watch his press conference on Monday, the general manager's press conference, was, he made you feel sympathy, for sure. And I think there is something going. I said this on a different podcast I was a guest with, that I do think there's got to be. I think there is. I think there is something
underlying issue there that you just don't. You might learn about in like 2 years or something if he feels like telling everybody.
Well, now they got one of the reporters said they called him after Shanahan spoke today, and he said he will respond at a different time in a different place. So I don't know what that's going to mean.
It just sounds like maybe he's got some issues going on.
Yeah. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is always a big deal, fire their general manager, pretty much fire their coach, fire all the coaches in the whole house, and look for a general manager. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do with Matthews, Nylander, and Marner. So they got a lot of business to do. And that is probably why everyone in Leaf Nation fans were all up in arms. Like, oh my God, you got to get stuff done.
Sure.
But
absolutely, man.
No. So that was that. And it was craziness. And So the Leafs will be looking. And as far as replacements, those names haven't come out yet. But do you remember Dale Hunter?
Yes.
Remember him?
I remember Dale Hunter. I know a lot about hockey, but I remember Dale Hunter.
Dale Hunter and Mark Hunter. Mark Hunter was general manager's assistant with Kyle Dubas about 6 years ago. Now his brother coaches like the London Knights or something. There's been a rumor that they might both come together. Mark Hunter GM, Dale Hunter the head coach. But
bad thing.
No, it might be all right. Joel Quenneville is one, but he's got some issues that he's got to be allowed back in the league. So we'll see.
Why would he do?
Well, it's really a sick story. One of the players for the Chicago Blackhawks, and I don't even know the whole thing, but one of the players for the Chicago Blackhawks was sexually assaulted by one of the scouts, and it happened, and they fired everyone in Chicago, and like Quenneville, the whole deal. And I don't know if he ever knew. I can't imagine. See, I shouldn't say that because I know people. I know how people are, but I can't believe he would know that was happening. And
like you say, it was one of those kinds of situations where everybody kind of knew it was happening.
I don't know. The NHL, you know what I mean? But the NHL didn't want to wait and see, and they just fired everyone. They made
understandable.
Yeah. So
watch. So yeah, I get it.
He's a very good coach. I mean, I don't know if he could withstand I don't know if the Maple Leafs would want that scrutiny, of bringing him in.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. That's going to be tough. Robin?
I think, though, if they end up determining that he's the best coach, I think they could withstand it.
He's got to talk. We haven't heard from him yet. You'd have to have that he could help himself by a press conference.
Yes, absolutely.
Explaining what he knew and didn't know.
Right.
And really,
better be honest.
Yeah, just be honest, because then you're screwed.
If you bullshit, you get caught up. Oh, it'll come back at you.
So that's the Maple Leaf story. An incredible one. But last night, did you see Florida won and they played 79?
Are they going to win the whole thing, John?
What's that?
Florida going to win the whole thing?
They seem to be blessed. I mean, they're doing everything you'd want to do to win the cup.
Like that superstars, it's just a lot of really good players on a team, right?
Yeah, Keith Tkachuk's your closest thing, and the rest are just a bunch of good players. Yeah, and their goalie's really good right now. He only gives up 2 goals a game. It's got to be 9 straight games.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
I think he's given up 2. Yeah, because against the Leafs it was
only
Saturday, so we're at 9.
Only 2 goals. Only 2 goals. That's it.
He wins 3-2 every night. And they won 3-2 again last night in 4 overtimes.
So you got to take the 1.5. Oh, yeah, that's great. That's good info. Thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I will bet the plus 1.5 every night.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. Yes. Yeah. They're ridiculous. I don't know. Tonight, we'll get off of hockey then. Vegas and Dallas tonight kick off their series. So
what do you like?
I like Vegas. I think my only concern is goaltending, but he might be good enough. He's just an unknown, but he's been playing good.
Is Eichel really living up to his potential finally?
Yeah, he's playing really well. He's hitting people. He's good. He's gotten really good.
Wow.
He's definitely a difference maker. Like they're saying when they were giving out possibly out of the 4 teams, if they win a Stanley Cup, who would win the MVP? And Eichel is the one from Las Vegas. So yeah, he finally
blow. So allegedly.
What's it? Oh yeah, right. Well, maybe, and he's in Las Vegas for God's sake. Wow.
I'm shocked that dude isn't a shit show.
He must have. Yeah. Maybe
he's in a lot of trouble in Buffalo.
Yeah, I know. He was.
Maybe he found something else to do.
Yeah, maybe it's not as boring. I don't know.
Well, it's boring here, dude. I mean, they don't really have much to do. There's 2 or 3 clubs, and downtown that they would go to. It ain't L.A. It ain't Miami.
No. So I do like Las Vegas to win the series. I think they're the better team. Robin, don't you? You think they're the better team? I think Dallas the goalie's good over there too, but this Aiden Hill for Las Vegas has been playing good. Yeah. So he's just not proven, but he's proven something. Right. He's playing well.
I think the Knights are the better team. I hope that Dallas wins. I'm not a big fan of Vegas, but I think if I had to,
I can't bet against Florida no more.
No,
they're ridiculous. They don't stop. They beat Boston, who was 43 points ahead of them. They beat Toronto, who was 19 points ahead of them, and now they're beating Carolina, who was 21 points ahead of them. They squeaked into the playoffs pretty much on the last day. And
I remember we had this
You know what
conversation
happened
about
with
them.
them?
Yep.
They got hot at the right time, and
Sam Bennett is what
every
happened.
year, right?
Bennett and Barkov together. I said it on here.
Yes,
They 100 points.
and every year there's something that sparks a team that then goes on a run through the playoffs and ends up winning. And I think Florida could win.
Yeah, they really could. They I wonder if they're the favorite in this. No, they're probably not.
No, I mean, I could see
Favorite in what?
I think in
the series.
I think for me the West is a
I'm gonna bet
little
'em right
more
now.
clear than the East.
I'll throw $5 on them right now.
Yeah, I would too. I'd throw $5.
The NHL, we're looking at.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Man, they're money line. They're plus 126
Are they for the series?
for tonight.
Oh, the Florida game? Or are you talking about Vegas?
No, I'm not. Sorry, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow night's game. I'm talking about the Florida game.
I'd go with them again.
Series, I'm trying to look for how I look it up on here, but
I would go with them again.
More NHL. Here we go.
Yeah, I would expect that Carolina would be tired from the 4 overtime loss, whereas I feel like Florida's going to be energized by it.
They played an extra 79 minutes and 47 seconds last night because they scored
Florida's
just before the 5th overtime.
Yeah,
they're favored. They're minus 164, and the Hurricanes are plus 134 for the series.
Wow! Well, they should. They don't lose.
They should. Yeah. No.
Stanley Cup. Who's got the best odds? Man, the Golden Knights and the Panthers are almost. It's plus 240, plus 250.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for them. Well, I almost hope they win. I don't care if Florida win.
Who do you think if it came down to those two? Who do you think?
I would put my money on Florida.
Yeah.
They have lost 2 games, 3 in a row against Boston. Then they won. So Jesus Christ, they won 3 in a row against Boston, and they won 4 out of 5 against Toronto. And now they won last night.
I just threw $5 on
them.
I win $12 if they win. Why not? Right?
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. So why don't we talk about real quick, since we're doing playoff stuff, basketball, the NBA. Los Angeles Lakers lost a close one last night, 108-103. Jamal Murray, 37 points. Jokic, 23. James had 22. Denver's up 2-0. Have you been playing that series at all?
Yeah, I got hit last night. I expected Jokic to put up some more points than that. I had him at I took him. I had him to record 12 plus rebounds, 10 plus assists. He hit both of those. I recorded him to have 1 block. 1 block. The big guy. 1 block. He's been averaging almost a block every game. Doesn't have a block. And I picked him to score 25 points. He only scored 23.
Yeah. Well, tonight Miami shocked. Jimmy Butler's unbelievable. He scored 35, and they shocked the Celtics. They're up 1-0.
He's unreal.
What's that?
Unreal. He's unbelievable.
Best playoff performer I've ever seen, maybe.
Like it really, truly. Like I don't think I've ever seen somebody. I just look at based on what I hear the pundits all say and all that stuff. But playoff Jimmy, man, that guy is like, he has money every year. If he gets in the playoffs, man, that dude is money. He gives everything he's got.
I can't believe they're going to beat Boston. I mean, and it's funny, these two, the way this lined up is the same way it was in the bubble when these are the same exact teams from, what was that, 2020?
Yeah.
And it ended up being Miami and Los Angeles.
What is up with Tatum?
Yeah, what do you have, 30?
Like Colin Cowherd calling him the Josh Allen of the NBA?
I don't know. What's he mean by that?
He means by gets up and down performances.
Oh, well.
I
think it was a little harsh to say the Josh Allen of the NBA.
I think that's harsh on both guys, actually. I mean, that might be a little.
I mean, but Tatum, man, it's like, gosh, what did he? Was it? I can't remember if it was the last game where he went like 10, 15 shots, or the first or 1 quarter or a half. He didn't make a shot,
and he ended up with 30.
The fourth quarter,
and he ended up with 30 points.
Didn't score a point.
I know. No, I know.
Best player on the team. How do you not score a point? That's unbelievable to me. I don't think I've ever seen that happen with a star player on a team before in the playoffs.
No point. Yeah. No, I know. I don't know what to think of the Celtics. I don't. The West is better.
something? Well, I didn't watch the game, so I don't know. Was he not hitting? Was he off? Like,
he was in the beginning, but then, like I say, he ends up with 30 points. And
so when he talks, he'll give him the ball. That's smart.
They lost by what? They lost by 7. I mean, Adebayo was very good. He had 20.
Yeah,
I remember
he's good.
A lot of rebounds, man, for Miami. A lot of second shots, third shots, out rebounding them, and
that's my bet of the night, buddy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Miami, maybe probably Boston wins.
Adebayo, dude, that dude and his rebounds, over.
Yeah. Why don't we do
that? Yeah, I'm sorry. We'll get into the bets later. I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, that's all right. Why don't we do this real quick? Let's take our break, because then I got to ask you something that I want your opinion on. So why don't we take our commercials, and we'll be back in about a minute, if I can find them. Minute and a half.
Okay.
Right back.
Digits 988 can save a life. If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides connection to free confidential support. There is hope. The Lifeline works. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988.
Wreaths by Elena DePaulo. If you just ship it anywhere in the country, check it out. She does all the sports stuff and anything else you want.
Anything, holidays.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got a Leafs one over there. I'll have to show it someday. Here's what I wanted to ask you, and I'm a big fan, and I know you are too. You actually turned me on to the Pat McAfee show, and they're going to ESPN. I guess they're walking away. He's walking away from a 4-year, $120 million deal from FanDuel or something. And he's going to ESPN. Some people think it's not going to be as good a show anymore. And some people think they use the old term of jumping the shark. Do you think that's what happened here with him? Or what are your thoughts on him going to ESPN?
Well, going to ESPN, he's definitely not going to be able to be. He's not going to be able to be the way he's been at his show now, man. There's just no way. There's no way. I don't know. I can't see ESPN letting all that happen. The shit that they say on that show.
Right.
Seriously? Off the cuff stuff that they always say.
They say
stuff that's what makes the show funny.
Right.
The stupid side conversations they get into off of something, right?
Definitely.
I don't know, man. I've watched the show. I know he's taken a lot of shit. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say, let me wait and see what happens. But if so, dude, that show will be canceled within a year because he'll lose all of his viewers.
Yeah, that's a shame because I wonder. The only thing I was wondering is, does a guy like Aaron Rodgers come on now and be comfortable? Like all these guys,
too big, too fast.
These guys. He had great guests. My God, and they would speak like you said. Vince McMahon was on there. the whole thing. I mean, he had.
I'll bet you his guests are gonna. Yeah, I think you're
Are there
right.
going to be contractual obligations
There could be. Yeah.
to be on or not be on ESPN,
Right.
whether it be his show or anyone else's?
He said, let him give the show a chance first before you start judging it. He said, we have control, we have creative control over everything. He said, I refuse to give that up. He said that was the sticking point with all the different companies that he was talking to. So
I think
he said, you're definitely going to hear a few less F-bombs.
yes, that's what I heard. That was it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the swearing will probably be cut down. The conspiracy theory shit, I don't know, like the way they get wrapped into things and conversations like that. You know, I'm just saying, side conversations that happen a lot.
It's fun. Yeah.
You know, you might not see that as much. And if so, and the viewers don't like it, he's going to find out right quick how to tank a company like that.
You know what I liked about it, and I just said it a minute ago, I loved it. I got to know Aaron Rodgers better by his show.
Sure.
You got to actually know who these people, somewhat. I mean,
That made me like him.
yeah, the best you can. He made you as an interviewer, which is great, almost feel like you know them a little more than you would have. And I hope they can still do that there and feel comfortable enough on ESPN to speak that way, because some of the stuff with Aaron Rodgers was great. I mean, that was.
He might be more guarded.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you'll get an 100% open Aaron Rodgers on ESPN like you had on something that wasn't. I mean, he's getting called a corporate sellout, right? I mean, that's what they're calling him.
I kind of wish. Now he does. The thing is, he does ESPN right with the College Game Day. He's on there.
I have a question for you guys. Do you know how much he made versus how much he made going to ESPN versus how much he would have made?
Well, FanDuel was a turn down. It said 4 years, 120 million. I don't know what ESPN.
And how much did ESPN?
I guarantee you, it was substantially larger.
It had to be huge. We don't know, but it had to be.
I betcha. Yeah. They wanted him, dude. He cornered the market in a certain kind of sports show. Like, he changed a lot of shit.
And he's perfect because he's on there. He's College Game Day. He does the whole.
Guys on there never played sports before. Well, they played sports, but high school, like
high school stuff,
little college or something. None of them played college. They all just played. They were just his friends growing up.
Yep.
Other than Boston Connor, I believe they were all just friends, because the one guy, Tone Diggs, he lived on the same street as him. The other guy was his best friend all through high school. Ty Schmidt and the other dudes, they might have come on later, just got added on later. I don't think they were friends with him his whole life or anything, but I know like 3 or 4 of those guys have been friends with him their whole lives.
Well, because like even Pac-Man Jones on there is good.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And I would have never known that.
He doesn't care. Yeah, I kind of like him. I always thought he was an asshole. I like him on there.
I like him a lot on there.
Yeah, right? Like, I always thought the dude was a dick.
Yeah, I figured he'd be, but no, he's really good.
Yeah, he's great on there.
I hope it doesn't change. You know, I guess maybe because I'm not good with change either. So I'm not a real, I don't like it when you start doing, just stay where you are. You're making good money. I don't know. The money has to be incredibly huge, I guess.
If the whole setup takes away from the way it's been, because the way it's been, it's almost like it almost feels like just somebody, I mean, the cameras aren't bad, but it's got that amateurish feel to it, right?
Right, yeah, definitely.
I wonder if the whole pretty picture done up, like all the editing and the way the camera work is and all that shit gets taken over by ESPN. I wonder if it's going to be made to look too corporate. Do you know what I mean? Yes. It's going to take that feeling away from it. I don't know. That's something that I'm sure they might have probably thought about.
Well, yeah, because when they go over there and play pickleball, or they have someone shooting the basket from wherever, right. I mean, that stuff is
right. When they had the whole thing with the beers, they had the one dude had to carry all the beers around, do the little obstacle course. It was stupid shit, but it was funny.
No, it was fun.
You would do with your buddies if you had the same setup, right?
Right, and
that's why people like it so much.
And the fact that he could get these guys to speak, like you said this to me, this is why I started watching it. You told me it was the Vince McMahon one, and you had said these guys, and you told me about Aaron Rodgers. They talk like they don't talk anywhere else.
But you know, I still have never seen and want to see
McMahon.
The McMahon.
Well, you can find it on YouTube. Yeah, McMahon's great. All of his interviews.
How many people come on there and they're like, "Oh, I don't think I could swear on here." And he's like, "Dude, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Right?
Can't do that no more. Can't."
No.
And that's what I mean. Now you've added a filter to your show.
Yeah.
That was never there before. So people are going to be guarded. I'm telling you. We'll see. We'll see.
Now, is it going to be on? How is it going to be? Maybe you might have heard. It's going to be on like the network, right on TV.
12-3.
12-3.
Yep.
Wow. I can't wait to see what it's like. Do you know when it starts? Did you say?
I have no idea. I kind of when I got to hear about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers all the time every day, I stopped listening to it.
Right. Well,
I was so sick of hearing it.
They love them.
On the ESPN too. It was on Get Up. It was on this. I had to hear about it all. Dude, it was just as bad as when you had to hear whether he was going to retire or not last year. He sucked up all the oxygen out of the room for the entire offseason. Again. Right? But actually, this year was probably worse because he was going to go to New York and how big of a market that is and the TV shows there, and you had Greeny and blah, blah, blah. I don't mind Aaron Rodgers. I was sick of hearing about the Jets. I want him to fail so bad now. I want it to just explode.
Yeah.
I hope for that. I do, because I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of hearing about him winning the Super Bowl. They're already crowned to win the division. Like, dude, I want it to work.
That never works.
So badly.
You know how that goes. That's never going to work out when they do that. Let me ask you, does McAfee, maybe you already said it and I missed it. Does he do that too with the Jets? Is that going on that show too? Or are they?
What's that? Praises them? Oh, yeah. Because Aaron Rodgers is there.
Oh,
they're going to be so good, dude. They're going to be so good. Yeah, it takes up a chunk of his show all the time. So I was like, I got to get away until maybe once the offseason starts and they start getting a lot of other guests back on there again, then I'll start listening again.
Right.
Once it's going to drum up and I'm going to get some good information out of it.
I'm curious. I'm so curious to see. I can't wait to see them on ESPN. I don't know. I'm just curious to see how do you transfer those guys. You're right. It does seem amateur, but it's perfect. It's supposed to look that way. Like it's
right. It works. And
it makes it casual.
Yes, and I love casual.
And that's what people like. And it's going to make it corporate. If it changes the look of the whole show, people will not watch it.
You're right. That's going to be a big deal if they move out of where they are. If that whole thing is different, that whole.
He's definitely not moving out of that place. They love that place. He's staying there. I mean, it's right near his house, right? So he's not going to move. And it's right near all of them. I think one of them moved nearby so that he could at Boston County or whatever.
What is that place?
It's an old church.
It's an old church?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he feels it's cursed.
Right.
He had to go up against city council. They didn't want it there.
Right.
Like, he had to fight to get it there and shit.
Yeah, so we'll see, man. I hope he didn't. That was like Fonzie. Remember he jumped the shark?
I get it, dude. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Dude, this is probably the most money this guy's ever going to make in his life.
Right.
So this is shitty. I mean, he's like you or me getting all this money. Listen to how he talks. He's not very professional at all. He's like a regular person that's just got a lot of fucking money and he had a good kicking leg.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And he's probably going to make, if it was $20 million a year. No, right? Was that what it was? No, it was $30 million a year from FanDuel. He's got to be at 50 probably with this.
I'm sure of it, dude. Because he also asks the questions that somebody like you or I would ask.
Yeah.
Like, right. Like a normal dude. Like, hey, man, I hear him do it all the time, and that's one of the allures of his show. That's why I like listening to it. Because I'm like, you know what? That's something I would ask the dude.
As long as they just pick up and go to ESPN, it'll be interesting. Okay, saying the F word is fine. I don't really need that. If that's something that goes, I'm good. I'll be fine. It'll be good. I can't wait though I agree with you. I don't have a problem. Well, I've never liked Aaron Rodgers, but I agree. I do avoid ESPN a lot because I can't really deal with. I don't like Greeny. I don't like any of that. And I used to like him, but it's out of control now. Look, I'm a fan of the Leafs like you and all my teams, but it's too much.
Yeah.
It's way too much.
It's never been able to happen.
No.
It took over the network every day. Dude, literally every time I turned it on, it was like the Aaron Rodgers watch every single day. There was a conversation about it, which turned into a 20-minute conversation. And now I just couldn't.
And now it's over and it's still going, which I don't. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. I want to ask you this, and you guys, let me play this video. Alex Smith, this was an interesting thing here. Let me, I think this is Chris Sims. Yeah, here, hold on.
See wherever we can find it. JoeBucksFan.com posted this item yesterday based upon comments from former NFL quarterback Alex Smith on a show that he co-hosts on SiriusXM NFL Radio. His comments relate to the question of whether or not young quarterbacks are properly served by playing for defensive head coaches. There's a different mentality, he said, when you play for an offensive head coach that wants to light up the scoreboard and outscore the opponent, especially as a young quarterback versus a defensive head coach, when really the coach's mentality is, hey, don't screw up, don't turn the ball over, don't put us in a bad situation. And he specifically then took a little bit of a shot at Jets coach Robert Saleh. Robert, you're a great defensive mind and coordinator, but like you have no idea how to develop a quarterback. The coordinator you hired never called plays, so that's a completely different animal, and as much as you think you're prepared to handle that development of a young kid, you're just not.
So there you go. Interesting, right? I like the candor or whatever you want to call it. That's good.
I agree with him.
And well, maybe he's kind of sticking up for who? Wilson, right? I guess saying that he kind of. I just think it depends on the guy, though. We see defensive coaches do fine as long as they got a good coordinator. Like, all right, let's go Buffalo.
There you go. I'm just going to say it depends on your coordinator.
I mean, that's the key.
He's the one that really needs. You got to have a coordinator that's gonna want to build plays around the strengths of that quarterback. Really, it's not. I don't think so much the head coach. I think it's the coordinator they hire.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's my opinion. Which I think a lot of defensive head coaches are going to look for the big defensive head coach, defensive coordinator, and might lack on the offense coordinator because his attention's always going to be on the defense.
Right. Yeah. No. And I'm trying to think back. All right. So Belichick. Who was his? Well, he always had Josh McDaniel.
Yeah.
So good coordinator.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Good coordinator.
That's obvious now with him not being there.
It is obvious, yes. Ridiculously obvious, right.
He took over the play calling or whatever last year, whatever he did.
Now, we know Peterson's good, right? He's with Jacksonville. He went from Philadelphia, and he might have been coordinator at Philadelphia to begin with. Because he was like, I think, the backup quarterback years ago for the Eagles or something.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yes, you know what? I think he was.
I think so. Was. So now we know he's one of those guys. He's like the quarterback whisperer or whatever.
Right.
I'm just trying to think of defensive. All right, so you got the guy in Buffalo, but we know Daboll was pretty good. A good guy.
How good has Lamar Jackson been in Baltimore?
Right. Okay. Now but he's an offensive coach, right?
Is John Harbaugh a defensive coach?
Oh God, I don't remember. We got to find out. I don't know.
I don't remember. I thought he was more of a defensive coach. I thought Baltimore's always been more of a defensive team.
But I don't know if he was an offensive coordinator.
Okay, then I don't know on that. Sean McDermott.
No, that's a perfect. I go with them because he had Daboll.
Doesn't it seem like he's holding the team back? I told you that. I think he's only going to get them so far because he's a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah,
it's true. I think it's true. I think usually the defensive head coaches, their teams have a great defense. They just don't have that high-powered offense.
Well, now the Bears will have Eberflus, and I've said this a million times, that he won't be the coach that gets them to the playoffs. I think there's someone else. He's like a bridge. I feel like there's someone else that'll be, because he's a defensive guy. Maybe you're right then. Maybe I got a total change of heart on what I was thinking.
Well, they had Daboll. I mean,
yeah, he was good.
Daboll was a great offensive coordinator, dude. He was really
when you think about it, they should have fired McDermott and let him be head coach. But obviously you're not going to do that, but I mean, it could have
do that. But yeah, I get where you're going. I told you, I don't think I hope McDermott doesn't ruin Josh Allen's career.
It's a good point. Now I'm thinking maybe I was wrong in what I was thinking coming into this, because I'm going back in time even and thinking of back with the Bears team in '85 with Ditka and McMahon, and he didn't have an offense coordinator at all. It was Greg Landry, and but Ditka was a offensive. See, that's what's weird. He was a tight end offensive coach. I guess forget them idiots. But no, maybe you're right. So you got Lamar Jackson struggling in Baltimore. For some reason, I don't care what John Harbaugh was. It's a defensive team.
Yeah, for sure. Defensive ball first.
Right. All right. So then, what other quarterback?
See what happens with the Jets.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with the Jets, but
that should be easy because it's Rodgers. You know, and for them, I mean,
Yeah, you see that in that situation, I don't even know that I can really. Yeah, you're right. That should be 1, 2 as easy as 1, 2, 3 with Rodgers. Really, you don't even really have to coach him.
what about now? Where is the coach from the Saints, Sean Payton? Where's he going? Denver?
Yep.
That's going to be interesting because he's got Russell. Man, there's a lot of. You know what? Maybe he was right. I guess.
A lot of defensive head coaches, man.
What, Robin? What's Mike Tomlin? Was he defense or off? I feel like he was defense.
Defense.
He was defense.
He was. And they're a ground and pound type of a team, aren't they?
They sure are.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, they got to that at one point because they had Antonio Brown, but really they were more of a run first team.
Right. And you've seen.
I mean, look at all the running backs that they've had. They've always been more of a run first offense.
Yeah, and out in Kansas City, you've got the guy who's one of the best ever, I guess, Andy Reid. And
look at the offense, man. Look at the plays they get. Look at San Diego. Look at the plays that get called. Look at the teams with the high flying offenses. They're all offensive coordinator head coaches.
Would you trade McDermott for? You probably would. The coach of the Bengals.
Heartbeat.
How about San Diego, the LA Chargers? Who's that? Staley? What's his name? Yeah, I think it is.
I don't know. He hasn't really proven to me that he can really.
Do you think Josh McDaniel could do good in Buffalo? That'd be interesting, huh?
I wonder if Josh McDaniel is just a product of the quarterback. He's got to prove to me that he could do it.
I know. It's unbelievable.
I mean, all he's had is a dumpster fire. Is now his star wide receiver wants to leave.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I wonder if Devontae Adams leaves the Raiders before the end of the year. He said, "I didn't sign up for this. He signed up to play with Derek Carr. He didn't sign up to get with a rookie." Sorry, Jimmy G.
Help me out here with coaches. Who coaches? And I'm so bad. If you can remember, Robin, the 49ers, who's the head coach? Why am I forgetting? Top of my head, I can't remember.
Oh, it's Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan.
Okay, well, of course, he's offensive and
head coach.
Been forever, his dad, the whole thing. Interesting. Green Bay is offensive. Whatever the hell his name is.
Buffalo's like an anomaly in the whole thing, right?
Detroit's defense.
All the other teams are coached by offensive head coaches.
Now, Detroit is Dan Campbell, so he was defense, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but show me something first. I ain't crowned him anything yet.
No, they're trying really hard with Detroit.
We're not getting far. They got Jared Goff, dude. They're only going to go so far.
I think they're going to take a step back. I think they were one of those teams that got hot and everybody got behind.
Because it's nice.
Yeah.
They've been so bad. They're, All right, who would be good in Buffalo? This would be incredible. What if Pete Carroll came to Buffalo?
Oh, my God, dude. Could you imagine?
I think he's a good one. I still think he is.
I think it would be huge.
At 70 years old, whatever the hell.
He's taking the heartbeat, because he knows how to play with the players he's got.
So do you think, if you looked in the crystal ball, let's say the Bills, and then everyone out there that doesn't want to just watching big Bills fans, as big Bills fans I can remember for as long as I can remember, back in the 80s. If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, let's say, do they fire him, you think? Do you think he ends up? No?
Nope. They're loyal to people, to a fault.
How many years left does he have on a deal? Do you know? Has he got a lot of?
That's a good question. But I'll bet you they re-sign him. How do you not if he's never had a losing season?
Oh, I know, but
he could be one of those guys, unfortunately, right?
That's true.
Dan Reeves or some shit like that just never. Dan Reeves won a Super Bowl, though, right?
He did.
Yeah, Elway helped him out.
You know what I mean? The ones that always they're always in the mix.
I know.
Never get there.
The only way I could see them firing him is if somehow they lost a first-round playoff game. Maybe.
First-round playoff game, it's either him or Ken Dorsey's got to be gone.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Ken Dorsey's got a lot to prove this year, man.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
In the beginning of the year, and then he had a subpar end of the season.
Yeah, there's a lot. This is going to be interesting, and Buffalo's got a lot of intrigue to it in that way.
They got a lot to prove this year with that, man.
Because they're ready to be better.
Right.
I mean, they've been good. Don't get me wrong; they're very good. But they're ready to. It's Super Bowl. It's AFC Championship, Super Bowl. Right there.
Right. Yeah.
You lose the AFC Championship. I mean, okay, I think you could stomach that a little.
Well, yeah, it's time to either get to the next level or
But
not?
they might fight. They're too loyal. You said
You don't want to get to the next level at some point. See, if they didn't do it, if they don't do it this year, which I don't know that they will.
Mhm.
But if they don't do it this year, you've got to make some sort of a change has to happen because you're getting stuck in the mud at this point, right?
John says it all the time that the Bills are so much like the Maple Leafs.
You don't want to be the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, and it's true in this.
And the 76ers.
Yeah.
The 76ers, the Bills, and the Leafs have a very similar. The Bills will win, but it's different. Football's different than a 4 out of 7. So,
Right.
But it's kind of got that same feel to them. But Buffalo is in a better spot, honestly, than I think the other two.
Yeah.
I feel like they're a little bit closer than those other two teams. And I know they're different sports.
Right.
It just feels that way to me. It feels like the time for them the time for the Leafs was now, and they blew it. So here we are, getting a new general manager, new coach, the whole deal. There will come a point for Buffalo when the time will be, it's going to happen.
Don't you think the time is?
Oh, it's
now?
not. It is, but you get a couple years with. You don't
Right,
get
that's what I mean.
1 year.
It might depend for McDermott though, man. If they don't meet expectations this season and they take a step back, which they could,
Right.
and then the fans are going to get restless, dude. They're going to demand a change.
He's the one that everyone points to.
Terry, he's never dealt with that yet.
Right. He's the
So
one.
he hasn't dealt with having a good team that is kind of stuck in neutral, right?
And he's the one. No one goes towards Bean because he's done well. Everyone goes towards McDermott. He's
Sure.
the guy that gets the. Then, my fear for the Leafs was always that they're going to keep losing, and guys like Austin Matthews are going to say, you know what, I want to stop losing. I better leave. That always concerns me too.
I get worried about that with Josh Allen.
They want to go away, go somewhere else, whatever. I feel like that guy's going to be here forever. I don't know why.
Who, Josh Allen?
Yeah, I have a feeling he never leaves Buffalo.
As much as I think you're probably right, and I say that because unless he was to get cut or traded, which I don't think they would ever do,
Right.
His personality
Is Buffalo.
I don't think he would want to slight the people of Buffalo by leaving just because of the type of person that he is. Also, that you know what I mean. I don't think he would want to start being a distraction and being a dick. And
he's well liked by the league. You see, all the other players like each other. Like no one has an issue, so there's not any of that shit.
Right.
I just don't see it. He just seems like he came from the perfect college to the perfect city to the perfect place.
Yeah.
You couldn't even a script. If you would have wrote that in a script, people wouldn't even want to watch it.
That's why Bean will always be above everything because of that. That alone does your whole franchise. I don't care what else you do.
Dude, when you pick the quarterback, you're a rock star.
Yep. And this guy, but I wonder, I'd love to have an interview with him because I'd love to know, did you think about Wyoming and how that translates coming to Buffalo? Because it's hard when you get a guy from USC and bring him to Buffalo.
100%. He said that they did.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. I never heard that.
Absolutely had, because of the conditions he had to play in, that 100% had something to do with it.
But not just the conditions. What about
I think the lifestyle.
Yeah, the lifestyle.
Yeah. Right. It was mellower. Right. Yeah.
It's just all right, I'm in Wyoming where there might only be 2 stoplights, so I don't give a damn if there's only 3 clubs in Buffalo.
Right.
I don't really care.
He grew up in Firebaugh, California.
Right. Another little place.
Pretty much the same. Right.
Yeah. No, it's smart. That's a smart move because when you try to.
If you're coming to Buffalo, your expectations.
Well, remember
can't be
Marshawn
high.
Lynch?
Yeah.
What he was saying all the time, he was always miserable.
Yep. He was bored.
Right.
But I'm saying, you get that quarterback from any of the big schools.
Right.
Especially out west. It's a USC or whatever. You come here and it is a culture shock, I bet. It probably is a little bit.
Dude, it's great for 7 or 8 months out of the year.
All right.
It's great.
I give Bean a ton of credit. That pick alone is enough to save his job for a long time.
Sure. He deserves. He's probably one of the best GMs I've seen Buffalo have.
I agree because also I think he's one of the best in my mind because of the way he talks. I love hearing
very honest.
He's
very honest.
Yeah, there's no bullshit with him. And
he goes on McAfee's show and he talks just like we talk. Right?
No.
And he's a real kind of guy. He's not like those old crotchety bastards who never wanted to do interviews or anything, give you the company line.
Well, you know where You know where for me he kind of stood out was with the whole Hamlin situation, is where he kind of made himself so relatable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah. I wasn't shocked by how he acted at all. That's definitely his personality, man.
I guess it was just the first time I paid attention to
Sure.
him enough to.
yeah, same here. That was my
Right. You guys pay more attention to your team. You don't pay attention. Like, I see all that stuff, and I'm like, I mean, dude, I've said shit to his wife on Twitter, and you know what I mean? I'm like, your husband's like the best thing that's ever happened. And she liked the tweet and said thanks.
Oh, that's nice.
I tell him don't ever leave, man. He's the best thing that's ever happened to this team.
Oh, speaking of tweets, today at about probably 10 a.m., I predicted that Kyle Dubas would be
Yes.
fired today. That today would be the day, Friday, because it's the long weekend in Canada. Drop the news. Here we go. Well, my buddy there from Full Press Hockey NHL gave me this. This was kind of cool. He gave me credit on calling the day. So there I am. Isn't that
There you go, buddy. All right.
I'm an insider. All the way from here. I'm an
All
insider. Yeah, whatever. I'm a freaking idiot. That's all I am.
Hey, you're a predictor.
Yeah, I'm a moron. All right, why don't we go? Really, I am. It's just that I can't contain myself with the teams I like. So and everything. I love this stuff. And I know you do too. That's why it's great.
Dude, I live it, man. I love it. Listen,
All right, why don't we
watch,
do-
read, listen? I can't get enough of it, man.
Hold on.
Yeah.
All right, what do we like tonight? Anything, guys?
This is my parlay, dude. I'm
All right.
I'm not promising
I got
coinage at all because I have
Okay.
been on a bad run.
All right.
But this is my $10 jammy for the evening. Hold on, let me log in here. So
Problem.
I got Jimmy Butler to score 25 plus points.
Okay.
Kyle Lowry over 1.5 threes.
All right.
Bam Adebayo to record 8 plus rebounds.
All right.
Jaylen Brown over 24.5 points.
Okay.
And Marcus Smart over 5.5 assists.
Smart over 5.5 assists. Okay, so that's Jimmy Butler 25 plus points. Kyle Lowry over 1.5 threes. Adebayo
Over
right?
1.5 made threes.
Made threes. Made. Adebayo more than 8 rebounds, 8 or more
8
rebounds.
Plus rebounds. Yep.
Jaylen Brown 24.5 points.
Over. Yep.
Yep, and Smart over 5.5 assists.
Yep.
So there you go, guys.
That's a $120 if we hit.
Yeah, and play it because that game's going to be starting soon, around 8 o'clock. I'll be watching. I'll be watching. I don't know why. I'll be flipping around. I'm curious about the hockey game too. I mean, I don't know. I just pretty soon though we're going to get into a lull, right? Where it's going to be just baseball.
Yeah, it's coming.
But then football's going though. Even while baseball's because think about it,
65.
July 1st hockey
Yeah.
is free agent day, whatever you want to call it. Then you have, and football is still happening today.
Yeah.
I see stuff. I thought the thing about Alex Smith was good. You've changed my mind. I was going to say that was kind of dopey and I didn't like it, but I think you're right.
That's why I threw that little on when you posted it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know.
I 100% agree with him.
Yeah, because I said on the post, I'm like, I'm not sure I agree with this, but I wasn't positive. But now you changed my mind. I agree with you. So that's good. We'll
Yeah,
do a
all right.
show together.
My bonus
All
for
right.
the day.
Tomorrow, Saturday, if you're got the time, 2 p.m., Falls Count Anywhere, Chris DiCarlo, Charlie Turner will be doing the wrestling show. Monday is a local Niagara County, Western New York show called Citizens United. And then, of course, us on Friday. So, Scott, you're going to have a good weekend, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I'll talk to you next week. Or I'll talk to you sooner than that. But
All right, buddy. See ya.